the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Bounces back.
You love it how I move you love it how I touch you, my one. When all is said and done, you believe God is a woman, and I feel it after midnight, a feeling that you can't fight, my one. It lingers when we're done. You believe God is a woman. I don't wanna waste no time, yeah. You ain't got a one-track mind, yeah. Have it any way you like, yeah. And I can tell that you know I know how I want it.
So secretly,
Nobody else can
like,
relate.
I'm secretly
Boy, I like the
low-key
doing
part of the Navy. I'm probably secretly low-key a member of the Hive. I'm definitely a Janet stan, low-key. So I am probably low-key a ponytail. I think that's what Ariana stans are called. I don't know what they're called. You know, I like Ariana Grande. I like her albums. I know that she is not a fan favorite because she's a little, allegedly, man taker. But I appreciate her songs. You know, when I say, though, that I'm a part of these movements and hides, I mean that I have a high appreciation for the artists, their dedication to their craft. But I, in all honesty, you know, Michael Jackson, Prince, New Edition, that was probably the last time I was actually a stan. Can't be. It doesn't compute to me.
Let's face it.
What's that?
She's up there, if not better, than Taylor Swift.
Oh, Ari.
Ariana Grande.
Okay. Yeah.
That vocal ability is just impeccable.
No, she is. I mean, and a lot of people compare her to Mariah. You know, I'm secretly a lamb, too. You know, I like quality. I like people that, you know, put in that work and apparently lick donuts and donut shops and take men. But joining me tonight is my guest. He has been here before, so I'm so happy that he is back behind the velvet rope. He is a singer, an actor, a mental health proprietor, spiritual advisor, spokesmodel. Okay, let me slow down. For Porsche. You know, that's like high-end luxury. Okay, just put that out there. Please welcome Eric Ashton Spooner back to RSVP.
Oh, thank you so much, Jill.
I'm so excited for you to come back. We have some interesting topics. I love getting your perspective because you always, I mean, we talk about spirituality, but you are more tapped in some ways than a lot of other people. I attribute that to your seminary school, you know, maybe that little briefness, but also, I mean, you take it further than that and you've applied it in other areas of your life, which I love to hear about that, especially when you're navigating this thing called Hollywood and when you're navigating this space of social media. It's changed things a lot, right?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
I mean, so, okay. Well, you heard the story. We were just kind of talking about a little bit. I haven't really gotten into the whole Ariana Grande thing, but is there anybody or a group that you are a stan of or that you would consider yourself a super fan of?
See, I'm a singer myself as well. So I'm kind of like a music connoisseur. So if you look at my playlist, I have everything from pop, rock, hip hop, R&B, jazz, classical.
As you should.
Like it's everything in there. So, but as far as me like really fanning out on somebody, New Edition was one. I still feel like New Edition is up there.
I feel like New Edition is, I'm a locking into the 20th century. It's probably not fair. I had a Motown, even, yes, and I say this with love and respect, and I understand what I'm saying when I say this, but hear me out. Even more so than the Jackson 5, I think New Edition is the top group as far as R&B of the 20th century. And the reason why I say even more so than the Jackson, I know what the Jackson 5 established. I know what they set up. I know what they did. I know how iconic they are. Come on. I know. I'm not saying that. However, Jermaine, we were close. Don't take it personal. Let's get serious. Randy, I mean, he tried. I don't know. Marlon, I don't know. Tito, I mean, Marlon was cute. No solo success, right? And that is, again, no disrespect, not a diss. But you look at New Edition, and when they splintered off, right?
Yeah.
Every one of those members in whatever configuration they put together had platinum plus success.
Definitely. Although I have to say that I still feel like to this day, I feel for my brother Ralph Tresvant because
he did get the short end of the stick.
He was the voice of the group, and he got the short end of the stick. He could have took, when you watch the BET movie, he could have taken a record deal with Disney. He, left that record deal on the side to stay with the guys. And the whole time, Belle Biv DeVoe was, creating their thing. Bobby Brown had left off to do his thing.
And he felt like low-key Bobby took his style because, the two dancers with him in the middle. He's like, that's me. That's me. Listen, Ralph probably, he did get the short end of the stick as far as that, but still had platinum success.
He did.
Think the Sensitivity album at least went double platinum. At least. So shout out to them. And I think except for Johnny, they all stayed on the same label too, which
MCA.
Yep.
Okay.
Look at you. Come on, you do. Talk about it. So, yeah. And so we bring this up because, we're going back. There's so many different reasons why I bring this up. One, I was talking about Pink earlier, and she was discussing when she approached Mary J. Blige and asked her to work with her, and Mary just looked at her and was like, no. And so I know Mary's considered rude by some, but that type of honesty is refreshing. No one would ever say Mary J. Blige has ever sold herself out. I don't think anyone has ever accused Mary. Now, no matter what you think of her voice, of her musical selections, whatever, no one would ever accuse Mary of making an album or a record that they don't feel resonated with the essence of Mary, so to speak. Anyway, and so I thought that was cool. But the whole thing with Ariana, to get back on point, because I went way to the left, but we're back now, right? It's okay. Is that she says that she is letting go of her cosmetic procedures. She said that in the past that she's gotten lip fillers and Botox, but now she wants to see every eye wrinkle, laugh line, all of that, and she wants to embrace getting older. So I think we talked a little bit about body image the last time that you were here, but obviously in Hollywood it's a reoccurring theme, and I don't want to say do we believe her, because of course we got to believe her, it's her body, but do we believe her? I mean, I think it's hard as a diva.
About it. Ariana's all of 30?
Maybe
not even 30, and she's already having that level of insecurity to the degree that she would have all of these cosmetic surgeries, and now she's saying she's barely 30 years old and she's already saying, I'm giving this up. It shouldn't have been there in the first place. You know what I mean? It's like there's something toxic in the entertainment industry that that breeds this contempt and self-awareness that is very unhealthy amongst all of us, I believe.
Do you so let me ask you this, because it's a conversation that people often have. Do you think the themes and in the music or the type of TV shows or film, because we see as the years go on, the decades go on, you can pick up patterns of themes that were popular at a time and then waned or what have you. Do you believe that the entertainment industry sets the trends or follows them? Are they just reflective of what the audience is going through and where the people are, or do you think that they set them up to kind of go this way?
I believe at my core, as a principle, when I look at the entertainment industry, I believe that the entertainment industry has a whole culture of fantasy. So when you look at the entertainment industry as a whole, it's the only industry that you can come inside of and create a fantasy that then becomes reality. You know what I mean? Think about it. It's the only place where you can come and do that. And so whether it's body image, if you want to create something, this is the industry where you come and create something from nothing that's not real. And then it's accepted. So when you even think about just that principle right there, just that alone, we could create anything and make it real and make it acceptable no matter how crazy it is. So whether it's healthy or not, it's acceptable in the entertainment industry, which is, it says a lot.
So you think the entertainment industry leads the people?
I think so.
See, I think that, and well, when we come forward, we'll get into what I think and the reason why I think, my opinion. We will get into that. We'll also get into the Tyrese, DJ Envy, Gia, whole shebang and all of that, and get Eric's opinion. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, on low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on.
K-Drip.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose America.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we were discussing whether we believe entertainment sets the pace or if the consumers set the trends and entertainment just follows suit. So my opinion is a little different. I do think that there are definitely avenues and, there are certain products, people, whatever, that manipulate and, give sort of a different viewpoint of things and can kind of lead the audience, right? But a lot of times, and especially now, you see the entertainment companies clout chasing. You see them trying to make another one. You see them trying to capitalize on the sound or the visuals or the image. It may not be as apparent in some ways as it was in the past, but you look at New Edition came out. New Edition was a takeoff, sticking with the theme, right? New Edition was based off of the Jackson 5, energy from that. New Kids on the Block was a take of New Edition and the Jackson 5, but with white guys, right? NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were inspired by groups like New Kids on the Block, probably New Edition on the lowest of keys. We saw what Ryan, who was it on the Mickey Mouse Club singing Jodeci? Can't remember. They were singing Cry For You. It was when they were all on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Justin Timberlake?
It wasn't Justin. It was like JC. It was the guy's
JC
an actor.
Chavez.
It was JC. It was a guy. He's an actor now. It's Ryan. His eyes little thing. La La Land. I don't know if you remember that movie. It's a musical. He was the lead actor in La La Land. I'm blanking on his name. Anyway.
Not Ryan Gosling.
That's
him.
Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. Yes. So there is a video out. If you haven't seen it, it is a must see because they are very much in their 90s R&B group vibe. It was an episode of the Mickey Mouse Club and they were performing Cry For You. So I say that to say that, it's trying to recreate that lightning in a bottle, trying to recreate that energy. And I don't know. Obviously, entertainment has an influence. We see that in hairstyles and things like that. But I just think that sometimes people forget that the entertainment executives at their core are regular people looking at, well, what does my kid like? What's my kid think is hot?
Yeah.
One thing I can tell you with absolute fact, any entertainment executive a lot of stuff that you are getting feedback on is something that their kids appreciate.
It's true.
They're going to go to them.
That's very true. I mean, a good example of that would be how hip-hop started, on the streets of New York with, street kids. These black street kids creating things like the moonwalk and, things that the Running Man and these different dance moves hip hop started, and it wasn't popular. Executives and corporations weren't behind hip hop. It was the street kids who created it.
And they were like, let me get on this money train. Because I can tell you what, in the 80s, every sitcom had, you had those very special episodes where you had a message in there or whatever. They also had some episode where one of the characters, one of the kids went to the bad part of town and crossed paths with the dangerous kids. And there was some hip hop scene with some like boink, 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 like, some random un-hip hop track that they just threw in there and like, that sounds like hip hop.
Yeah.
So anyway, now that we've traveled down memory lane on that, I do think it's interesting, though. I think that the internet has been such a game changer. And it's interesting. There is a series that's coming on Showtime. It's a 4-part docuseries, and it's called Deadlocked. And it's about how the Supreme Court, America has shaped the Supreme Court. And the director and executive producer is a woman named Dawn Porter. She also directed John Lewis, Good Trouble, and a couple of other things that this intersection of politics and America and media is sort of her thing. And I interviewed her earlier this week. We'll be playing that interview on Thursday. But we were talking about the fact that one of the people in this documentary was saying how changes in policy, talking about things like Roe versus Wade being overturned, what we've seen happen with affirmative action, you don't see the true impact of law changes for, a long, long time after that. It's not going to be a couple of years. It's going to be a decade or more before you truly understand the impact and the change that has been made. It's a really excellent series, and we'll talk more about it on Thursday. But just in thinking about things like that, when you look at the landscape right now, right, especially as in regards to mental health, and this is going to be kind of a tricky question, not meant to catch you up, but just really curious. Do you think that because now so many people are educated on the terms gaslighting, emotional intelligence, just the different buzzwords that we utilize. And though people are more informed about their mental health, do you think that it is an easier path for excuses, an easier path for people to throw out another way for them not to be accountable for their actions? Because mental health is a very real thing and there are consequences, but do you think it's a crutch currently?
I certainly, I'm glad you asked that particular question, because I think that in today's society, there is we're in this middle ground place that's very tricky and very dangerous, I believe, because so many people are learning or gaining information, or they're starting to learn more about the terms in the mental health world, but they've never actually been inside of the mental health industry, so to speak, to actually see what people struggle with day in and day out, the actual suicides, the psych evaluations that have to take place, the type of medications people juggle themselves through to find the right medication, what bipolar really looks like, what mood disorder looks like, what schizophrenia really is. And so in today's world, people are throwing these terms out because it's popular now, but they don't really know what it looks like, what it looks like to live with that and to struggle with that. And so we hear about suicides all the time, and it's a normal thing, but we don't really know what that is. And I think the scary part is it's all becoming conflated to a degree, and people are using these terms, and they're not really inside of that industry to really know what they're talking about. And when you look at the entertainment industry, there is a lot of mental illness. Traditionally, there's always been a lot of mental illness in the entertainment world, but it's an industry where you can easily mask your illness with entertainment.
So, well, the connection point to this, but we're going to circle back to that point. So I'm going to put a pin in it because I have something to ask you about that. Is Tyrese.
Yes.
And obviously he has been discussing his mental health, and he said that, he talked about his father being a crackhead. His mother was an alcoholic. So he's never drank or took drugs. He's gone really hard to stay on the straight and narrow as far as his life that was important to him. Mm-hmm. But there were some things going on psychologically. He didn't elaborate as to what or what fashion or what he was going through, and he took some meds. Again, we don't know what kind of meds. We don't know what happened, but that they had him acting loopy and acting out, and caused him, he said, to speak to people in ways that, are not representative of his character. Mm-hmm. So he went on The Breakfast Club. They had a conversation, he and DJ Envy, about why the breakdown of their friendship. So following the appearance on the show, Tyrese has come back again to explain why he feels like Envy and Charlemagne were not being friends and treated him wrong. And, he was almost in tears. So to our topic of sincerity, using buzzwords as far as mental health to sidestep accountability, or just, maybe in general, generate interest and attention on you. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that that's what Tyrese is doing. I'm just saying sometimes some of the things seem to feel as though they fall in that area. Let's take a listen.
Y'all know that I could make the choice to go at both of them, but I'm not going to do it.
So dramatic. Do you hear the pause?
The choice that I'm going to make is to wish them well in their careers, their marriage, their family, everything.
Hit that snot bubble, Tyrese.
I want the best for them. I really do. I want to say thank you to Jess. I hope they add you to, I hope they officially add you to the show. And I hope nobody attacks you or come at you because you actually had the only heart in the room.
So we get the general idea, but I just, again, you can never fairly judge someone's pain or what they're going through.
Yeah.
But it just feels like a little much to me.
Yeah. So this is my synopsis on this. I'm witnessing something with Tyrese that is from an emotional state and from a mental state. What we're looking at and what we're hearing from this situation, I don't think is really about this situation. He has some other bottled up emotions and trauma that he's still dealing with, I believe, from previous situations, whether it's a divorce, whether it's marriage, whether it's family members, whether it's his career. I think that that's what we're encountering, because people are asking this question, well, why is he on social media crying again about something? Why is it this long drawn out video? It's like, once again, if it is the mental health, it's conflated again into entertainment. It's very dangerous, because the dangerous part of this is if you have a mental health issue, that needs to be handled privately in therapy, with medication, with counseling, with the right support system, if that's really what it is. When it's entertainment, you can create an illusion, so to speak, and cry and create drama and effects and all these things to get attention. So then it's entertainment. So what we're seeing with Tyrese is we're seeing a marriage of the two, and it's very dangerous.
I mean, my thing with him is, like, again, you don't want to see anyone suffering, and you know that this business can eat people up and spit them out, and you never know what someone is struggling with. But his approach, and again, maybe I really don't hold things against people, but I do. I think that he's been very condescending in his approach at times towards his own fans, towards the women that he used to deal with, and how he speaks about them. It's like, that was your choice, though. At one point in time, that woman was everything that you said you wanted.
It's true.
And you put the same type of shame, doubts, whatever on these other women to lift this individual up, and now look at you. And I don't know, the way that he moves is interesting, and I want to feel sympathy for him, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. However, when we come forward, we will have more. We're going to hear from DJ Envy's wife, Gia, and what she had to say on the situation with Tyrese and what he did. We'll also talk more with our guest, Eric Ashton Spooner, and get into more of these trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and Sports is up next.
I feel it after midnight, a feeling that you can't fight my one. It lingers when we're done. You believe God is the one. I tell you all the things you should know. So baby, take my hand, say
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is backing an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. He made the announcement citing dealings the Biden family made with foreign companies and governments. The president and his son Hunter Biden have denied any wrongdoing so far, and there's been no evidence the president was involved in his son's business dealings. Governor Kathy Hochul says lawmakers are entertaining every option when it comes to solving New York's asylum seeker crisis. The governor is working on language that would grant migrants work authorization at the state level. And an advisory panel says a decongestant found in popular over-the-counter cold medicines doesn't work. The panel unanimously came to an agreement on the ineffectiveness of phenylephrine. The decongestant is found in common medicines like Sudafed PE. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Score big on sleep and savings during Mattress Firm's best sale of the year. Save up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable beds. And get a $300 instant gift. Good towards pillows and more.
Gotta stay fresh, ma. House shot with a rest bar.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Dominique DePrima, KBLA Talk 1580. One of the most important details of running a business is managing cash flow. In fact, it's key to maintaining your company's health. Putting cash flow management before profits using dedicated software can help you drill down to the details that let you see the bigger picture. Having that clearer outlook makes for a stronger business. Whatever your business's financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I need your forgiveness and your mercy too. I must be all kind of crazy for what I've done to you.
Oh, that's Black Tie.
I hope you understand.
I had to hear the tone. Had to hear him hit a note. I'm not sure about the song though. We're gonna wait for the chorus to kick in.
But I'm making change for you. Have I learned is your question? And my answer
It's such a shame that Tyrese messed up a great didn't mess it up. He just altered the perception a bit, and you know, if he's going through a mental health crisis, then we shouldn't hold that against him. However, so here's the thing that I want to know as far as accountability in mental health, right? Because we are going to play the Gia clip and then Tyrese's clip after that. But do you think that there is still room for accountability to be had when we're talking about mental health and situations that people are being faced with? Because what I find is that I still believe that even though there might be chemical imbalances or things happening, you still have a certain degree of accountability within that. And I feel that oftentimes, kind of to the point where I talked about learning the language and how to use it back at people, that people will, even legitimately, you know, they legitimately are going through this thing, but they lean on that in times when they don't feel like putting in the work. Is that something you think?
Exactly. What you just said is exactly what it is. Absolutely. So a person who may have a diagnosis of a mental health issue, whether it's bipolar, mood disorder, ADHD, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, that person knows that something is going on. That's number one. They know something is going on, whether they've been diagnosed or not. Now, a person in Tyrese's situation, you're a public figure, you're a grown man. If there was a mental health issue, this is not the first time you are being made aware of this at 50, 45, whatever age you are.
I don't think Tyrese is 50.
How old is
Tyrese is like 45, right?
45?
44,
Okay.
40. I'm about to Google the Capricorn. I know he's a Capricorn. That's about all.
So you don't; those things don't surface in your 40s, okay? Those things would have surfaced long before that age. So if this is a valid mental health crisis, this is not the first time he's aware of this, okay? But yes, the person is responsible. They are at least aware that something is off. They're at least aware that I need to go take care of myself in some way, whether it's counseling, go see a doctor, talk to someone. There's something that needs to happen, and that person is aware of that. So there is a responsibility on their part, yes.
So let me ask you this, because I think about someone like Tyrese, who has been famous for almost 30 years now, if not 30 years, right? He, we've seen him go through many phases, but I often talk about becoming famous as a child, especially someplace like LA, especially during like the 90s. And we've heard in various formats some of the things that Tyrese has gone through, either industry, you know, handled onto him or his own self-inflicted actions. But do you think that it is possible for children or young teens, preteens, to realistically enter into the entertainment industry and come through it unscathed?
I'll put it this way. Only way that can happen is with God, to be honest, because I personally don't believe that a young person who hasn't reached the age of 18, who is actually growing up in this industry, unless you have a strong foundation, maybe your parents, a strong group of people around you who are really sheltering you and protecting you in a lot of different ways, teaching you, it's really hard to grow up in the entertainment industry and come out unscathed. And the reason why is because the industry itself is built upon drama, gossip, doing things in a more twisted way, a more adventurous, explorative way, should I say.
Is it, so again, going back to kind of my chicken and egg conversation, is it because people really wish that they could be more free or expand their boundaries so they can, project or place themselves when they see these other people doing it and live vicariously through them?
I mean, that could be the case. I just believe that your developmental years, like for example, from the age of 13 to 17, even actually age 13 to 21 is your most transitional age group. Mm-hmm. You're going through adolescence. You're going through your most important, intense developments in your life. So from the age of 13 until you become an adult, that's when you're becoming your real self. You're learning yourself. And if you're learning yourself based on what's going on in Hollywood, that's a bad basis to go off of.
Can you undo that programming regardless?
Can you do what?
Can you undo that programming? Like if you have been exposed to that, wilded out, saw that, and then, you go through an adult phase. I mean, because what we see typically is we do see them return to religion, it's always the extreme opposite, as if something so terrible happened to, and I'm not saying it didn't happen to them, that they have to immediately go to God in this way, right? Is there a middle ground, do you think?
I do not believe that there is a middle ground until you have been re-raised or reprogrammed as an adult, making your own decisions, finding your own identity and reality. Once you've done that part and built your own foundation as a person, aside from what you were trained to be in Hollywood, I think then you could come back and find a middle ground and maybe work in Hollywood with your own identity and personhood intact, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, for yourself. Once you've done the work on yourself, learned yourself, discovered yourself, and become strong enough to stand in a place called Hollywood, I think then you can marry the two. But until then, I really do think it's impossible.
Interesting. Okay. Urban Spinster says the industry Tyrese is in allows for these outbursts to go unchecked. Very much so. I think it depends. One, I mean, we're in clickbait time. So, Tyrese's outburst is a way to make money for these people. It's just content. It doesn't necessarily mean a great deal to them. Aubrey Sinclair has a question regarding entertainers. Some suffer in silence. Others like to bring out their issues publicly. Are you asking if one approach is better than the other, or if we are insensitive in assuming the ones that don't bring it out publicly are more whole or more complete in that? We're going to go on our own guess, Aubrey, but if you could drop in the chat, kind of redefine what you mean, and when we come forward, we will answer that question, plus get into the audio of Gia Casey, that is DJ Envy's wife, and the actions that she said Tyrese took that made her uncomfortable. All of that and more. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So let's listen to this Gia Casey clip, that's DJ Envy's wife, as she describes the phone calls and the situation that happened with Tyrese that made her uncomfortable.
I stopped talking to Tyrese on two different occasions. Once many, many years ago when he did do that amazing thing for us. He and I became friends, and we were very, very cool, and we spoke often. And a lot of times you'd be laying in the bed next to me while I was talking to him. And at first everything was cool, but for me it got to a point where it became inappropriate and uncomfortable, where I felt as though lines were being crossed. And you felt as though lines were being crossed, and we both decided that we were going to take a step back. And, you know, there was times where I felt like he was extremely demanding of my time and of my attention, where if I didn't give him my time and my attention, he would get very angry, get very upset, and let me know what his expectations were of me. And, you know, at that time, I didn't feel as though he was going through any mental issues. I didn't feel as though he was facing any mental challenges at that time. I know that he does go through things, and I know that he has been on medication, but at that time I felt as though he was very clear-minded and everything seemed cool. But when I started to feel uncomfortable and you started to feel uncomfortable, we took a step back.
Well, what lines were crossed? Because people would be like, well, what lines did he cross?
You know, I don't really feel comfortable being specific because at the same time, I still do have a respect for him. I know that you still do have a respect for him. I would feel more comfortable just being general and saying that, you know, there was flirting and inappropriate compliments for a woman who's married.
Okay. I respect that.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
I don't have respect for him, though. But, yeah, no, I get it, and you do it. And, you know, I appreciate that, what he did.
How did you see it?
No, I know that everything that's going on right now, and I know that he's being boisterous about it. I haven't been on Instagram in the last 2 weeks because we've been really busy, but, you know, you've told me some things, but I haven't really seen it firsthand, so it's not going to affect me the same way it's affecting you because I haven't seen it. But what I can say is that very clear lines were crossed. And
I get it.
So how did you see it, Envy?
There's certain things that you don't say to a man's wife. There's certain things that you don't say to a man's girlfriend. There's certain things that you don't say in a flirtatious way. And I told you what he said. You spoke to my wife yesterday, so you know what he said.
So that's why you wanted to box. That's why you said I'll box your mouth.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to box his mouth. It's just certain things you don't play with somebody's wife like that. And
were you upset that he wasn't flirting with you in any way, shape, or form?
A little bit. No, you see, you playing too much.
So listen, it goes on, but there's a couple of things in that clip. One of the reactions I saw on social media said that Gia should have nipped the situation in the bud much, much earlier before it got to whatever extreme that it did. Because with those type of situations, compliments where the line starts getting wiggly and, we get involved with those habitual line steppers and they step further and further and further over our boundaries. It was said that she should have checked him, expressed, hey, that's not appropriate for our relationship.
Exactly.
Or, added envy, obviously into the mix where it's like, hey, we think I looked good in that skirt too. Like, something like that. So what are your thoughts with setting boundaries when it comes to, and to the point that we made earlier and something we discussed, she is saying that obviously you don't know, you never can tell, but it didn't feel like it was a mental health thing with him. Seemed to be the implication that he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't,
exactly.
Whatever the medication was causing him to do this. And to me, kind of seems that way because obviously it went on for a little bit of time. So I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely have to say this, that I don't know how long this friendship between Tyrese, Gia, and DJ Envy went on. I can say this as a principle when it comes down to a married couple. DJ Envy, in my opinion, should have stepped in and said, okay, here's the protocol that we're going to follow because this is my marriage.
But at what point, because remember, Tyrese saved their marriage, and that's part of why he had that open conversation, that open connection with Gia, because, whatever. And then I guess the man stuff kicked in and he was like, but if I was your man.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so how, if this person is counseling you, do you go and get the person that betrayed you that you're talking about to put them in their place?
Still, okay, we understand, Tyrese was counseling them. Let's be clear, Tyrese is not a therapist. He's not a counselor.
Nope.
He's not a licensed therapist. He's not a marriage and family therapist. He should not have been, in my opinion, that involved to that degree with a married couple on the rocks. At the same time, Gia could have put an end to it. From the very first time she felt uncomfortable, she could have communicated that to DJ Envy.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that because they were coming off of a rough period, I mean, he had been cheating on her for about 10 years with, I don't know if there were more than one woman, but one in particular he was pretty serious with. And do you think that she was maybe accepting some of the flirts or the compliments because she wasn't maybe, feeling the best about herself coming off of having been cheated on by Tyrese or by Envy under those circumstances? So having Tyrese, fast and furious, black tie, whatever his other alter egos are, saying complimentary things.
It's obvious to me from an emotional, mental, spiritual standpoint that Gia, as a married woman, whether you are separated or married or on the good terms with your husband or not, she, somewhere in her soul and her mind, her guard was down with Tyrese in a way that it should not have been down as a married woman. That's just my opinion from what I'm hearing and seeing. Her guard was way down too far for a married woman, in my opinion. To the degree that DJ Envy really, there's some murky, gray shaded things between DJ Envy and Gia, in my opinion. I understand they were going through a rough time at that time, so maybe that explains that. But DJ Envy to become aggressive after the case, after the fact, and say I would have boxed in your mouth way later. Now, this is how long?
Some time.
Yeah, for some time.
Yeah.
So this wasn't the first time, you don't know how many times Tyrese has communicated to your wife in certain ways.
Well, what they said was, he said, because, the conversation came up, Tyrese said he was going through stuff, and he was basically saying some other things that he had said were because of the medication, and Charlamagne shared that information with Envy. Envy said he took a step back because he respected the friendship and was trying to, because sometimes, your friends are going through stuff or they're acting out of character, at least for you. And as everyone is an adult, you don't want to necessarily tell someone how to run their life, especially if you aren't sure if they're going to be receiving of the message from a place of love.
Yeah.
So sometimes we, take 2 steps back into the left, like, I'll let you figure it out and I'm here if you need me. But I think in V1, I do think that he did get tough, when it was safe to do so.
Exactly.
So to speak. But I also think that if someone is legitimately your friend, you don't necessarily want to go there and have those type of confrontations and that ugly conversation. And then 2, add to that the fact that they are in the entertainment industry, and there's so many different ties and things that can come about if you address something, if you don't address something, if you say, I love it, but you hate it, but you're just trying to sidestep.
Yeah.
The
so that's where I
association.
would say that, because if you listen to the audio, both Gia and DJ Envy agreed that they felt a certain type of way at some point, that lines were crossed. They said they both felt that way at some point. At that point, it should have been done. There's nothing else to talk about. Like, you're no longer counseling. Like, the lines have been crossed, peacefully ended. That's how I feel about it. Instead of getting on the Breakfast Club later.
Well, he did. To a degree, he said he blocked him, and he stopped, and he wouldn't answer his texts and calls anymore. Do you think that is a fair way of resolution? Do you think ghosting, blocking, disappearing, not having the conversation?
Ghosting, it works on some levels, but a lot of levels it doesn't work. Like,
because I'm not just talking romantic. I'm talking about friendships too.
Friendships too, yeah. Ghosting doesn't always work, and I'm coming to, even personally in my life, I'm learning that there are certain things that I'm just going to have to confront. Whether I'm a confrontational person or not, there are certain things certain people need to hear from me, whether it's nice or not. And I can say it tactfully, in a nice way, in a loving way, in a peaceful way, but there are certain things certain people need to hear. And I think that DJ Envy had an opportunity with Tyrese to correct the situation or confront it in a cordial way, but still confront it privately and end it. And not ghost him and block him and exert all of this aggression on Breakfast Club later on, and now is in the public, and it's an immature way of handling something so delicate and so important. I think they should have had a private conversation, a confrontation if need be, to confront the situation and end it. It's a marriage, it's not a celebrity gossip situation. It's your marriage. So that's what I feel.
I agree. When we come forward, we'll have more. We'll have Tyrese's response to that. We'll also talk about the Black Google workers and their salary. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy